Sometimes I wonder about myself. So off to the bolt store. We're still winning. You gotta laugh a little bit.
Hello and welcome to the shop. I'm Jared and this is the Questionable Garage, and this is our 1971 International Harvester 1010D long bed pickup truck. That in the last episode we went ahead and put some new front coilovers on the Corvette subframe. So we've got that QA1 double adjustable up front now, that ride height way better, and then we got started pulling all of the rear leaf spring and installing the custom QA1 4-link in the back, and that's where we wrapped up. Well, today we are going to get all of that burnt in. We're going to finalize that math, get it set up perfect, get the shocks on, and get it back on the ground. Going to get you underneath, talk through the angles, a little bit of the science of it, and we're going to start making that solid metal liquid and solid again so it becomes one piece when we get this thing going down the road again. Now, one thing I do want to quickly kind of just jump in. I've seen some of the comments asking around. I want to give an injury update. If we go back to November last year, coming home from the airport, was in an accident in the Escalade, ended up banging up my knee. And some of you are asking how it's going, where things are at with it, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest. When you're watching these videos, this is the highlight reel. Dwayne works really hard. I try to keep these things upbeat, but we've been doing a lot of physical therapy. There's comments that we're dealing with permanent injuries. The knee's not good. Be honest, it's really rough. It's been discouraging. Physical therapy's going pretty good. Working on some pain management stuff. I used to do 20-hour days. This should have taken me 2, maybe 3 days to get done. It's drawn out. I'm at the point where it's work 10 minutes, sit 20. That's just the reality of life. So if you're dealing with any type of injury, I hope you're adapting. Give yourself some grace. Don't push it, because you're just going to make things worse in the long run. So that's where we're at with that. We're going to grab the camera. We're going to go underneath, give you a good, close, tight look at Johnny's rear end. Then we're going to start melting it. So these are our triangulation bars in the top, and we're starting to figure out numbers and math. We're working out our downward angle so we can start working through instant centers and all of that. And we're getting close-ish to welding.
Well, I'll speak up, and hopefully the fan's not too bad. As you can tell, we've got a lot of little difference all in place. Bars in slightly different spots. You'll notice our simulated drive shaft, it looks like bars are off. That's because our rear end isn't centered. And now we're getting our rough pinion angle set. What's really weird about this truck, because this thing is so low and we still use the factory front cross members, we have about a 4-degree slope down. While that equal and opposite, that means our differential, it actually has to be up a little bit. So even though this is going up, equal but opposite. 4 degrees down, we need to be 4 degrees in the back. So if we swing all the way back here, we're now getting there. And some of the earlier iterations, you'll see those were kicked way down. But I actually have my pinion rough set now. Now we're not worried about the exact final degrees, because unlike a leaf spring, I've got 4 bars. I can adjust and get it absolutely perfect. So our next step in all of this chaos, we're going to remeasure and recenter our lower boxes, get those 90 degrees up and down, then we're gonna tack them. And then we can get all of this stuff measured and tacked. And then we can pull the bars out, final weld them, put our final bars back in, one more check of all our measurements, final burn in our chassis, and drive the truck, you know. Oh yeah, and make new brake lines. There's only many hours left to go, but none of that's gonna happen until we get started. So I've been having a whole lot of fun. Let's get our rear boxes set and get that welder fired up so we can get all of those things tacking in. Intro. No, that's not it. Huh. Oh, what am I looking for?
the Brunt Potty of Gold, of course. Let me get out of the bathroom and I'm gonna tell you about that. All right, now that we're not in the bathroom with, bathroom things, let me tell you just a little bit more about today's sponsor and their awesome giveaway. Now, I have sung the praises of Brunt workwear. I am not a fan of overpaying for stuff, and you don't do that with Brunt. They are my favorite work pants. I've got a fresh supply because I love wearing them. And just like their work boots, out of the package, they're incredibly comfortable. Also, you may notice this is a little bit small for my foot. That's because I love them so much, and my wife was jealous. I got her a pair too. So now she doesn't have to worry about getting her sneakers dirty when we're taking care of the chickens. But this is about the $50,000 Brunt Potty of Gold sweepstakes. And the best part is, you enter for $0. You just gotta go to their website, create an account. I'm gonna have that link, all of the sweepstakes information down below because we don't wanna waste time talking about it. It's incredibly simple. You make an account, you're entered. I love that it's just a simple, clean giveaway. I know potties aren't really known for being clean, especially a golden outhouse, but that golden outhouse is gonna have $50,000 in it waiting for you. What would you do with $50,000? Load up on an absolute crap ton of Brunt workwear, or more practically, get those parts you need for your truck, like Johnnie Rev here. You can upgrade your own suspension, or you can do the boring and absolutely most practical thing and just pay some bills. Tell me below, what are you gonna do if you win that $50,000? I absolutely love working with Brunt workwear. They have been hands down my favorite workwear brand that I have used my entire life. I see lots of really positive comments about it. You get them, you put them on your feet, they're comfortable. If you got a problem, reach out to them. They work with you. They got the make it right guarantee. So if you're ready to go ahead and jump on board and join the Brunt Potty of Gold sweepstakes, or just you need some good workwear that you won't be disappointed with, head on over to bruntworkwear.com/questionable10. That's gonna get you $10 off your first order of $60 or more. And you're getting entered in that $50,000 sweepstakes just for creating the account. Bonus, if you go ahead and order some workwear, for every dollar you spend getting some amazing workwear, you get extra entries. I love it, you're gonna love it. Dwayne loves his. Seriously, it's already great workwear and get you in the running for $50,000. That is a crap load of money.
I got my new helmet going. I like that the light's on. It's supposed to auto turn off. Dude, this built-in light is pretty nice on this Lincoln. Still right where I want to be. Give me one more tag here. And here. Okay. Measured it 14 dozen times, and of course I'm sure the moment I welded it, it's now finally moved. Nope, it's just dead on 11 and 1/16. So we're gonna match measurement out here. Still good there. Measure a whole lot. Again, we're not doing full burn-ins, obviously, because we want to get all of our bars roughed, and we're gonna do several articulations. Then the shocks will go in, and then we'll put weight on it, and then we'll come back up and burn things in. Well, that's two of our temporary zip ties to come off. We're fixing our axle first, and then we'll do our final left, right, front, back checks. And then we'll weld the front half in. When you're doing that, I'm having to measure off the frame because my initial measurements off the frame to the wheel versus body to the wheel was 3/4 of an inch different. So it's gonna look a little different in the wheel wells, and unfortunately that's just a result of, it's an old farm truck. Body is actually not centered on the frame, and since all of our front work was done off of the frame, we want our rear work done off of the frame as well, because Well, that's what matters. Then we're gonna measure off of our stubs. So even though the pinion is offset, I've confirmed our pumpkin is centered. And these are centered. So basically we can use this as our measuring point because I've already measured from center of it and confirmed those are good measurements to use. I'm gonna scoot around, measure our fronts off. Measure, 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 measure. Cutting off stuff's not fun. All right. I guess technically what we'll do now is I'll pull all the bars out. We'll go ahead and get those welded and painted. Well, all right, we did manage to get everything welded up, and I want to introduce you to my friend.
The not so wacky, wavy, or inflatable 4-link arm sort of tube man.
It's kind of hard when you're trying to figure out how you want to hang and dangle stuff to paint, and I realized I didn't want to use my heim joints because I don't want to get paint on them. So I was like, I'll run an extension through.
So these are welded up, cleaned up, prepped to go in, which I'm feeling pretty good about. So remember, for me, it's been a couple days. For you, it's been a minute. We're tacked up in the rear, so we're gonna get them positioned. I went ahead and sanded and it's funny. This has been wire wheeled and sanded and it still looks a little rusty. Good enough for what we need. We got it cleaned on the inside and the outside. So we're gonna get our bars back in place,
do a final measurement and everything, make sure our axle is exactly where we want it. And we're gonna get things burnt into the chassis, which is gonna be fun. And then we're gonna work on articulation and shocks mounting and then driving. Now, remember, our front mounts were dangling way below the suspension, and I said, don't worry about it. Because International just welds a little angle iron, calls it good. But we were sitting really low on it. But I'm borrowing from International's book, and I'm reinforcing with angle iron. I have a feeling this is gonna be more than sufficiently strong. Sure, we could do box and fancy little brackets and things, but I mean, cut a little angle on that so I can get a little bit better weld penetration. And that will basically, boom. And that's not gonna go anywhere once we get that fully burnt in. And it's gonna give us all the strength that we need. After all, it worked in the back for 50 years, and we're just, you know, doubling it and giving it to the next person. So also, it'd be nice when I can get the truck up and down a little bit more so I can re-sweep. Look at all the crap that has come off the bottom of this truck from working on it, from sanding. That's just a mess. So let me get the arms off. We'll start threading them out, and I'll bring you underneath when we start working on the measurements. And then I think it's time we actually mount it to the body, or the frame, not the body. We mount it to something. Well, we're many hours later. I thought about not even just recording this bit and jumping ahead, but I do dumb stuff sometimes too, and it's okay. You guys make mistakes in projects. I make mistakes in projects. We got our bars together, and I was working on my angles. I had everything lined up and started to tack. I wanted to get the rough tacks in so we could talk about numbers and the science. And then I noticed something looked just a little bit off. I kept looking at those bump stops to the axles, and they just looked really weird. And I was confused because I checked all of my measurements. I checked, you know, my bar angles were the same, measurements down were the same, but then I kind of looked and noticed that bolt and then the backside of that bolt. They looked really different. And then I looked again at that axle and that bump stop, and it looked really different. In order to get the right bar angle, brackets weren't symmetrical. And then I did what I should have done, step one. When I set everything up, I measured my axle to the toolbox and toolbox, made sure all of that was level. You know what I never did? I never measured from there to the ground and that other side to the ground. I also learned that currently my arms of my lift are about a ½ inch off left to right. So sometimes you're gonna waste 5 hours because you didn't do the most basic rudimentary step one of the process. You know, it happens. I'm kind of annoyed, but the good news is I could knock the tack welds off. I've got everything remeasured, ready to tack up again. Man, you know, I try to always be real. I don't want to hide the bad stuff. It happens. It does. It doesn't matter who you are. So before you start doing major suspension work, make sure your suspension is, you know, your frame is the same height off the ground. Like, that's literally step one, and I just was a complete idiot and didn't do it. So good news is, so our next step is going to go back to these holes are in the same point, so I'm going to use them to measure back, left to right, make sure both sides are good there. We're going to measure top of frame down. Once we know those are good, re-tack that in, and then we can get back onto the top bars, which I knocked completely out because none of it was right, but we're gonna make it right. So I'll pick you guys up in a little bit once we get it all spotted up again. Don't do dumb stuff, or you know what, you're going to, and it's okay, you can fix it. We're still gonna end with some of our bars in. That's my goal for the day. Well, all right. Now, if you're wondering, Jared, why does that stick out a tiny bit? You know, a whole lot more than a tiny bit. We're set up that if we want, I can cut a flat flange and seam weld that if somehow we decide that mammoth inner piece is not strong enough. Again, thank you to Ridge over at GRC. I had some rough designs and we cut those out. This big shield is just for more surface area to weld that in, and then we'll weld those in on our final weld to flat where it sits right there. We have got our angle set. We have got this spot welded. This is our rough drive shaft approximation. We got these within 0.5 a degree. These are almost identical. So all that's left, let's articulate it a little bit. Let's go up and down and see how that works. It's doing it. Oh, now that's extreme. So of course the pinion angle moved a little bit, but realistically, it didn't move much. It is doing the thingies, which is always a good sign when you do all that work and it, you know, does the thingies. Because there's no guarantee when you do all the things that it's still gonna do the thingy things. I'm not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be finish welded and onto the shocks today. But considering how much I kind of goofed to begin with, I'll take fully spotted back in. Where are we at here? Wake up. Boop. That pinion is barely doing anything. We're on our bump stops. I've got all the clearance on all the things. That's gonna be good. Just gotta cut, reinforce, and fully weld it all in. Now granted, I technically started before one trip. We're 2.5, 3 weeks into fighting through Johnnie right now, but that's okay. It's gonna be awesome. So we're gonna get the suspension fixed, and we're gonna deal with that. in another episode. I want it all in one episode, but I'm realizing we've got so much junk still going on. So I'm going to pick this up as high as I can so I can get under here a little bit better. And we're gonna fire up the welder and we are gonna burn in a whole lot of metal. Oh boy, guys. It's warm. Also, it was so warm, I decided not to wear my leathers. So, I don't know if you can tell between the rust and everything, but we kind of barbecued my arms there. But what we also got done is everything front suspension-wise on the truck is welded and painted. And while that looks absolutely amazing, and I would love the whole frame to look that way, I don't have it in me to sand the whole thing right now and do it. So, well, if you guys want to come pull the body and clean the frame, let me know. You're welcome to do it. But, took temperature, 109 degrees peak in the shop. I was talking to Mr. Cool, but they vanished on me because I'm definitely not Mr. Cool. But I'm loving this. It's feeling really good. Those brackets welded up. Measured out all our degrees. It's funny how much of an optical illusion that plays on you. Degrees, it's perfect, but you look at it and it looks kind of off or something. It's also still cracks me up how we can look up there and we see the back of the heads and the J&J marks. Thank you, J&J. You guys need to swap. They're awesome people. So where are we at? We're letting paint dry. We've got that painted, but not the rest, because once this goes in the truck again, we got to do our shock mounts. So I didn't want to paint everything until we got the shock mounts done. Once we get those done, it's time to refigure our brake lines, because most likely if our shock's right here, this brake line's less than ideal. So we lost that mounting hole on that side. That's okay. So I'm going to clean up, get a good drink of water, and we'll pick you guys up, putting Johnny's rear end back in. Also, old man, wear your PPE. Look at the dust and dirt in that thing. Do as I say, not as I do sometimes, or as I do sometimes. Anyway, revel in this victory with me. We were able to stay standing long enough. We got it all burnt in. I'm so close to this truck having a Supercar suspension, if we want to call it that. Whole lot better than leaf springs suspension. Well, all right, I'm hoping, I've been playing with the left and right, and she's a little wiggly, but nothing is fully tight, and I'm hoping that's why, because my math says this should be a very firm rear end. But we're getting ready to do shocks, and then we paint and tighten everything up for good. But we got to set our pinion angle just to make sure any rotation in that axle, our shocks are going to be good. So I'm at my approximate ride height that I want, confirmed with symmetrical bars left and right. And this is where it's going to be a little weird. We want our differential going up. And that is because our transmission is pointed down. But what that ultimately means is the drive shaft goes up. But anytime you're dealing with a U-joint, you need equal and opposite angles. Whether that you can have a drive shaft go sideways and down, like you can do all kinds of funny angles with your drive shaft. It just has to be equal and opposite. So if we're 3.6 degrees down, we're gonna come back here, make sure these are all loose enough. Now I preset my bars to the same length before going in, but we're gonna do like one turn each and see what we get. So Approximately 1 turn. Ow, hit my head. Approximately 1 turn. But we got a long way to go. I could push out, but anyway, let's hope I didn't somehow boo-boo despite doing a whole lot of math. I'm gonna fiddle with my rod. I'll pick you guys back up in just a second. Well, there we go. 86, 38, 86, 40. I only had to use up all my rod to pull it in short, which is okay, because if I ever go to the other settings, I need a longer bar. So I guess in my most common setting, I have maximum thread angle. Don't really necessarily love it, but you know, somehow even when I measured everything, we got that just a little off. Maybe I think this bar ended up just a tick further back from initial measurements. I don't get it because I measured it 20 times, but I also did do half of my tack up with the frame a ½ inch off. So it's not measure twice, weld once. It's measured 58 times because 57 wasn't enough. But we're gonna be able to get that exactly where we want. So next I'll bring you to the back side and we're gonna start figuring out those shocks. So then we can get it all apart, paint it one more time, and put it together for real. Well, no, we still need to make brake lines, but we're getting there, we're getting there. Well, all right, I have some updates. Been doing some fooling, came up with an idea. Also, first off, any of you who've got a welder at home, you're gonna understand this miracle. I was walking back and forth in the shop and just happened to notice I was out of welding gas. I was like, well, crap, how am I gonna finish? Believe it or not, it's not 1 a.m. on a weekend. It was 1 p.m. I just went down to Safety Plus and exchanged the cylinder. That never happens with welding. But we have got our shock lowers mounted in exactly how I want, in line with that bracket. And we are sitting basically on our bump stops. This is pretty much as high as I want this axle to go in. And I've got my spring off and my shock set to just about a 3/4 inch travel, just a half, 3/4. So that way, if we hit something violently hard, that bump stop will squish some and we're not gonna slam the shock. And I've got all the travel in the world to go down. So I was just making sure we're not gonna slam it in. We've got these fancy little mountain tabs and I need somewhere to put it. So I got this. But if we take just that and weld it on, you know, it's not gonna be the strongest. How are we gonna fix it? One really cool thing is you take a mag drill, an annular bit, you mag it on the frame and you can punch through both of it. This is a boxed frame, so it's really thick. Called my friend Randy who's got one and his is way too big. I can't fit it in unless I take the truck bed off and I don't feel that way. So we're gonna do something really fun. You take and get you a 12-inch drill bit. I only needed 9 inches, but we got 12-inch. So I'm gonna punch through on the outside of the frame where I want my hole. Make sure this is going in 0 degrees, nice and level. And we're gonna punch through on the other side and then I can go with a hole saw inside and outside, run that in, weld it up. So I'm gonna show you doing that, but first, in case you're not quite picturing it, check this out. Boom. Look at that. Welded in. Welded in. That tube is not gonna go anywhere. We're welded to this tube, our mount, everything. It is 100% what I hoped and dreamed and wanted it to be. So feel pretty good about that. You know, sometimes you make plans and it doesn't work at all. So I'm gonna grab you guys, put you on the stand. We're gonna punch through and do all of that work on the other side, get her welded up, take it all apart, final round of paint, mount everything up, and then we can finally get on brake lines and finally put this thing on the ground. I really can't wait to see it like together. Normally a 2-day project for me and we're 17 days in. Sometimes the body lets you work, sometimes it doesn't. And it's better not to, you know, like totally ruin yourself. So let's put you on the stand so you can see this madness actually come together. Would you look at it? One small problem, we are fully sitting on the rear suspension and we're definitely still too tall. And I can't reduce that preload on the shock anymore without modifying the brackets, which we'll do. But my niece said I'm done, and honestly, looking at that, I feel so good. Oh, we got it. We got ourselves a race truck. It just, there's something about super wide coilovers that just looks so good. Join me tomorrow where we're gonna make brake lines and then clearance this. I guess I can't have that much adjustability. Maybe we'll cut that angle. I don't know that I would ever need to move the shock that much. I was just trying to have all I could. But yeah, brake lines that worked for leaf springs definitely don't work for 4-links, but that's okay. Working on our brake lines, we've got the new rubber installed. I'm gonna cycle it. I might actually zip tie that on so we keep it from chafing, or we could always cut that off. This is a little tricky. So this is where the block lands. That's where our bump stop is. And we're gonna clear it only just on that one little baby line. To make our rubber hoses work, originally, again, they came around to the back. I have a coil over there. So we just flipped them, running them to the front. Somewhere in here, I have a whole bunch of new weld tabs. I put them in the spot I wouldn't lose them or forget about them. So arriving tomorrow morning, I've got some more weld on tabs. So we're gonna make a brake line. I have it kind of roughed out how we want it to land. We'll come over, loop it to the front. Any of you who have ever made brake lines, you know how awful it can be. This tool changes everything. Slide your doohickey on, make sure you have it set for 45 on your blocks. Spin her around to op 1, drop the hammer, get your pin in, make it a little snug, not too tight. Slide op 1 all the way down. Lock that. Spin mandrel to operation, well, that's op 0. Now we go op 1 for 3/16. Make sure it hits the hole. Boom. Spin it op 2 for 3/16. Knock your torch over. Boom. Loosen. Perfect flare. Do that on the other side. Boom. Op 0. Lock her down. Now, one thing that's nice about this high copper nickel pipe, you don't need all the fancy mandrel benders. You can do most of your bends by hand. And it just makes life a lot easier, less likely to corrode, just easier to work with. So we need a really tight 90. My really good bender, that's the tightest we can get. It's not good enough. Now this only tends to work, again, with the copper nickel stuff. You're gonna take your wrench, lock it on. You're gonna use your finger. Again, copper nickel is the trick here. You can get really tight radiuses without mandrels. You still need to be careful because you can collapse it, especially if you're going over 90. But if you look there, we have that real nice, clean, tight 90. So then you got two options. Bend off the car or bend on the car. I like, whenever possible, to kind of work it on the car. Nice tight. We're gonna come in, it's gonna sit right there, nice and clean. Loop up, and then 90. So, now I just need to wait. No, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm tired of waiting. I want to see this thing on the ground. Then we win. Oh. All right. I think you guys can tell. I'm happy. Now, we're gonna let it settle some. We might pick the rear back up. The front does need to drop down a little bit more. It doesn't actually ride that high. Yeah, the front's gonna come down, and I do believe I'll do the rear up a little bit more. That's just a little bit low, but I'm gonna clean the shop a little bit. We'll pick you up tomorrow when I get the weld in stuff, and we're gonna get the other side picked up. I'm excited, really excited. Well, we're outside. I'm gonna get down the road a little bit, but I wanna go show the friend who helped build the whole truck, see what he thinks of it, if we're finally almost done with Johnny. Maybe we'll add some air conditioning, because right now I've got the down 40 and we're not moving, so I don't got any. So let's go turn the air on and see how it drives. First impression, it rides so good, and under heavy acceleration, we're going straight. No driveline vibration, so our pinion angle's good. I need to work on the shock setting a little bit. I think I'm just a little soft in the rear. But man, listen, again, normally I can do a 4-link in like 3 days. Try hard, we did it in 2 hours. We're having to adapt. There's a new normal. There's just something about a cool, I mean, I guess resto mod at this point, pro mod, what do you call it? When you're hiding $2 grand of suspension, 700 horsepower engine, and an old farm truck. I don't even have the alignment perfect. This is trouble because, gosh darn, this thing handles good. So flat. So before, again, we drove it with the new front coilovers. Yeah, it was better, but you're still at a wobbly butt. There's old leaf springs. Not now. Now she's flat, and I feel like our limit's going to be those tires. Let me know what wheels should I get so I can measure some up and get with Nitto and get some good tires on this truck. But I'm going to take a minute and just drive. I've been needing this.
Well, all right, we're back in the shop, and honestly, I didn't have the right cameras to film a lot of driving, the outside shots, and we still need to get the alignment done so it's perfect. But it feels really good to just drive this thing and have it work, and work so good. The QA1 suspension, obviously the front coilovers, we had the Corvette suspension. That was the first episode. It went right in, changed it a lot. This builder kit 4-link, it took me forever. We're working through that. We're getting better. We're getting the knee behaving a little bit better, but taking all that extra time, working through all that geometry, it's amazing. It's really good. Again, I can stomp on it. It spins the tires. It doesn't wheel hop. There's no axle wrap. We're not going to blow anything up. It feels really good. So I really hope you guys are kind of enjoying a little bit more of the traditional internal combustion. Yes, I still do enjoy my loud and crazy projects, and this is the one. It really is kind of crazy when you stop and think this whole thing started just because I couldn't get ball joints for the front suspension. This was a 3-year only front suspension, so I was going to put a Crown Vic front end. Friend John at J&J Auto Wrecking were like, hey, we got a lot of C5 Corvette stuff. You want to try that? Which then turned into, let's put the engine on the subframe, which turned into a huge nightmare, which is eventually turned into this truck. It's insane. It is way faster than a farm truck should be, but we actually do have a really good suspension under it. And I do believe if I go on a proper racetrack with a little bit better tires on it, we will be faster than in a Corvette and a whole lot of other sports cars. So I'm confident we achieved our goal. Wheels. I don't love these. I know some people do. Comment below, what should I put on this truck for some wheels? Still trying to figure it out, but that's going to be it for this episode on Johnny. We have successfully got our supercar suspension under our old farm truck. Next Johnny episodes, we are going to get the laser cutter and welder fired up, and we're finally going to rebuild this exhaust. it's just a little bit too loud. I sound old saying it. I'm okay being old and saying it, but we got to do something to get it just a little bit quieter. But that's next time. Appreciate you guys, as always, watching some of the crazy EV stuff, watching our crazy ice stuff. I'm going to turn the fan on because it's hot. I'm Jared, reminding you guys to always make questionable choices, and sometimes going all the way still isn't quite far enough. We'll see you next time.